Hello YouTube, it's me, Brittany, and this is the 7th installment of my coming out journey. If you have already been watching, I do thank you so much. If not, please subscribe, follow my channel, and you'll be able to see that there has been 6 already. This is number 7, it's the second to last. I'm going to finish this today, so the last video will be on my channel at some point today. For those of you that have been following it, I do appreciate it. For those of not been following it, let me catch you up just a little bit. We have just left Missouri. Well, not really leaving it. I'm kind of taking a job that's going to keep me going back and forth from Missouri to Disney. And so what happened was I worked in the school district for a couple years, got some experience working with kids, enough to get myself a job, basically my dream job. I've always wanted to work on cruise ships, and I finally got that opportunity because I got hired by Disney Cruise Line. And this is where, as far as my coming out journey goes, where I just kind of started to test the waters a little bit of coming out to people, but not really coming out, but like just kind of seeing what their responses would be. Another thing that was great for me for Disney was it was like a huge international experience for me. So I had spent most of my entire life, even the time that I was, living in Europe for 8 years as a child, a military brat, I was still kind of sheltered into this American culture, American lifestyle. And so for me, being trans, even though, in the last 5 years living in Missouri, I kind of learned what trans was. I was starting to, look into what that was and understand that might be what I feel like. I just don't know how to explain it to anybody yet. And also, there's this fear in the country back, it was just, 10 years ago, but that there was this fear, for coming out that it was just wasn't nearly as accepted 10 years ago, even as it is now to come out. So, me learning in Missouri about myself was kind of one thing, but going to Disney and getting this international group of friends from all over the world who, I asked them questions about how the LGBT and trans people are kind of perceived in their, country, and you learn that it seems like the United States is one of the few places where trans people just aren't accepted in society. They're just like they're treated like second class citizens, and we're still fighting for those rights now. But like it's just true. Like if you leave the United States as a trans person, most places you can go are pretty accepting of you as a trans person, and you're not going to face too much hate and discrimination for just being who you are. It's part of why I like to travel out of the United States when I travel. But so like this learning experience for me with all these cultures, having living with them and learning how accepting it was for them, was really eye-opening for me. So I met a lot of people at Disney that are very, very important to me, especially when it comes to my coming out journey. Like I'm not gonna name names, but there's a boy L, there's a girl L, there's an R. All of these people they're still important to me. I still speak to them, not maybe as regularly as I did when I was working for Disney, but they were all important aspects of me figuring out and learning more about myself, because that's what I use Disney for. Like my roommate was probably one of the most important ones, and that's the boy L. And the reason for this was because I opened up to him in our, little small cabin. We had multiple conversations about how I just didn't feel comfortable as a boy, have always felt more comfortable as a girl. We talked about, my past whenever, I cross-dressed and I'd done this in Vegas and I did this in so many places, and I had been living this double life, what I was thinking. But, he kind of put it in words to me that really kind of opened my eyes. And it's something along the lines of, like, it looks like you already know what you want, you're just keeping yourself from it. And that's really what it was. And it was kind of super like eye-opening for me at that time to kind of like look back and go, this is what I am. He's right. He was 100% right. Like, I'm holding myself back, and that was the only thing that was doing that, was me holding my own self back from being happy. And so, like, I can go on about other people. The girl L and R were both very like close female mentors for me. I learned a lot of basic makeup tips. I also secretly asked questions of both of them and got answers that were, fulfilling for me to get the right answer from them. They didn't necessarily know that that was something that was going on because I was still very closeted in at Disney, even though it's very open, and there's lots of LGBT and it's a very LGBT friendly company. I still was still very closeted. So I found these few friends that, and actually I have two of them here. This is L and R and me. I look really chunky. I was kind of a fat kid, working for Disney, but I still wasn't happy with myself. But, I still have, I have more pictures of Disney than I do of anything else. There's some more friends that I made while I was working there. Look how, even there, I don't look as happy as I could be, and I look really unhealthy and chunky. I took Lucas to Disney World while I was working for them. Look how much bigger my face is there than it is now that I'm getting much healthier. And this is the coup de grace, of all of my Disney pictures. Everybody always tells me this is my favorite. I did not start transitioning till I left Disney, but this is probably my favorite picture of my time with Disney. That's I was working, with these people that kind of open my eyes that it's okay to be who I am. I'm asking questions, I'm getting answers, even though a lot of my friends at the time and still probably don't realize that I was using them in a way to kind of help myself learn about myself. And then I left for a contract, and when I come back, I had expressed interest in maybe, starting to transition, and Disney basically said, no, you can't be a princess. That's not their exact words, but that's what it came across to me. I was like, hey, I'm supposed to tell kids every day, you can be a princess, you can be a superhero, you can do this, this, this. But then when I tell you, hey, this is how I feel, and you're like, nah, you're not allowed to be a princess, and I'm like, well, motherfuckers, I showed you because this princess looks good as fuck now. Anyways, so yeah, I come back for another contract, and some things happen, and it just went not my way. And unfortunately, I had to leave Disney. But honestly, I cherish that time with Disney more than I do with any other job I've ever had. Some of the friends that I have from Disney, I will always remember. I still keep in contact with them, and one day I'll travel the world and visit every single one of them in their own home countries as soon as I make $1 million or something in 1 year. I promise I'll do it. But anyways, that's probably far from gonna happen. So I left Disney, and that was about 5 years ago now, and this was when I came out to just a select few of people when I left. And then I went home, and instead of going back into the closet, I decided to go ahead and come out of the closet. But we're going to discuss that in my next video, which is going to be the last in this installment, because I think I want to talk about the actual process of me coming out on its own, because it wasn't just to be like a bang, like bing bang, here I am, here I da 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 da. No, it definitely was a lot more complicated than that, so it deserves its own video. I do thank every single one of you guys who have been keeping up with this story, and I appreciate you guys for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe. I am starting to work on some transgender awareness videos that are going to be coming up either this week or next week, definitely before the end of this month, because this is Transgender Awareness Month here in November, so be looking out for those. Also, I'll probably have a couple of just some thoughts coming, just because I have been living in my new house now for a month, and maybe you guys might want to know what's going on. Anyways, I love every single one of you guys. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.